Palm Springs.
I've never been, have you?
No, never ever been here before. In fact, I've always wanted to go.
My role in Tyler's life is to assist his manager, Ron, and take Tyler to the reading safely, check that he's calm and in a good headspace before he's about to read these huge celebrities. I have no clue who it is, so Tyler and I drive there none the wiser, and it's just so exciting and different every single day.
Well, something's... You just did a funny face. What did you see?
Give me one sec. So I'm on my way to Palm Springs with Charlie, and we're driving along, having a good time. Suddenly, a ton of information starts coming through. It can be a little awkward when I'm just having a conversation with a friend, and they randomly start noticing me looking into the distance, talking to dead people mentally. All day, some weird little images that came through.
Okay.
There's Gil and there's Gail, but I'm wrong. It's not either. But it is. I don't know. There's a reference to Chihuahua, like a paranormal experience with a Chihuahua. This person will be known for their voice as well. And the Hobbit.
The Hobbit?
You know, I'm seeing Bilbo Baggins, the feet.
Wait,
I know, honestly.
That's interesting. How are you going to piece that together?
Yeah. I'm so thankful to have Charlie in my life because she really understands my process and treats me like a normal human being.
So you've spent every single waking day making it about someone else.
It's all about everybody else to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm such a channel for everybody else.
Exactly.
That I really don't feel I have like a deep sense of self. So it's weird to come home at night alone and be alone and not work.
Yeah.
And sit there and be like, who am I?
Yeah.
What am I? What am I other than this? I've been having some alone time, which has been much needed and lovely and kind of helping me identify my own thoughts and feelings. In the process of connecting to everybody else's thoughts and feelings, it becomes very easy to lose sight of one's own thoughts and feelings. And then it becomes almost like an identity crisis where it's like, you know, am I feeling my own thoughts and emotions? Or am I feeling my, someone else's thoughts or emotions? Tyler,
I'm Ross.
You.
Hi.
Salvador, great to meet you.
Come on inside. I'm Ross Mathews. You might have seen me on the red carpet for E! Or Chelsea Lately or my podcast, Straight Talk with Ross.
This is so beautiful.
Thank you so much. You're so itty-bitty.
I know, I feel 12, but...
How old are you?
19.
Oh.
When Ross opened the door, I actually didn't initially recognize him, but once he started talking, I definitely recognized him.
I was gonna offer you Prosecco or something, but you can't even have it.
I know, I have to.
Do you want like a juice box or something?
You know, yeah, give me like just a little milk bottle.
Come in. He's so much smaller than I thought. I didn't know they made humans that size anymore. Have you ever been to Palm Springs before?
No, this is my first time. Isn't that funny?
You're gonna love it.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Do you like old people?
I love old people.
Do you like gay people?
I love gay people.
You're home.
Okay, and I love old gay people. So
we call that double rainbow.
Exactly. Palm Springs at the end.
I personally have never seen a medium, so I'm kind of excited, but I'm kind of scared at the same time.
You want to come in the living room?
Sure, that'll do. Is that a coaster?
That's a coaster.
Okay, I'm not from here, so I'm like...
We call that a coaster.
That's a coaster. We didn't have shoes. Just Google them.
I'd like to know if I'm going to lose any weight soon. Just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to. And what are you doing there? What is
so this is actually a notebook. And so what I do is I just scribble. And it's actually my way. Like, my head doesn't spin around or anything. But I just basically do this, and it just kind of calms me down.
Whenever I'm on the phone in a meeting, I got to doodle.
Scribble. Oh, I know, me too. Yeah, and then I start reading the person on the phone. I'm like, probably should.
Funny.
Yeah, so as I'm kind of getting information, you can just let me know what makes sense. If something doesn't, please feel free to let me know, and we'll figure out where it fits. And so we can actually touch on anything you'd like to touch on.
Because I've lost someone, I want to talk to people who've crossed over. Like, that's what's important to me.
So I'm going to start picking up on stuff. Give me 1 second. Like that. Okay, with that. Okay. What would that even be? There's a couple references to a couple different things. There's very distinctly a father reference. So is your dad actually passed? Mm-hmm. Okay. Mom's still here, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So initially, I'm referencing to G. There's 2 G's, though. Oh, what's your mother's name?
Oh, that's a G word. Gay.
Oh. No way.
I know. Call
You're
the irony,
kidding.
please.
Oh, my Lord.
Gay Mathews. People send us Christmas cards to gay and gayer. Oh, and the last name of my grandfather is also G.
Oh, wow. So there's lots of G's.
Lots of G's.
Okay.
Wow.
It's interesting. When I'm connecting to the fatherly figure that comes through, immediately I'm going to my back, odd enough. And my back is hurting.
My dad's back always hurt.
Okay. Team Bambi. Randomly.
Bambi.
Yeah. Let me see the significance of that one. Bambi.
I know. He was a hunter, but he didn't shoot. He always said he didn't shoot deer because of the movie Bambi. He only hunted ducks.
Interesting.
How did he know Bambi? I mean, my dad would always say that. It's weird that he can do that because he's dead on.
There is a reference, and this is gonna sound weird, but keep it in mind. There's a memory with a fish, and I feel like I'm grabbing the fish with my hand, and it's squirming.
Yeah, we used to go fishing together all the time. Cool. We had a song that we would sing to like catch fish. Like, yeah, and it was a nasty, dirty song. And,
oh my, okay.
Yeah,
That's
so
hilarious.
Can't say it on TV.
Oh my.
You wouldn't look at me in this house and think, oh, a fisherman. But he totally picked up on that, one of the connections my dad and I had.
Do you know if, it's very well maybe insignificant. This is one of those really weird ones. There's a joke about the Hobbit. You know,
oh my God, shut up!
Like, you know, Bilbo Baggins with the hairy feet?
That's nuts!
Who's Bilbo Baggins?
I played Bilbo Baggins in 7th grade community theater. I was wonderful. People are still talking about
that's hilarious.
What a revelation I was. I was like in shock when he said that I starred as Bilbo Baggins in The Hobbit. I love my dad bragging about it up there. Yeah, it was just some like rapid fire validation that dad was there. You know, that he just kept saying these things that were just so my dad.
There is a reference to the fact that I feel like when I actually pass away, this is someone who would have dealt with an illness or through a duration of time. It brings me the last 8 months of life, and it's talking about I don't feel well.
Yeah.
There is a reference, though, to 2 peaks of hope. It's kind of the way that I put this, 2 peaks of hope, where I feel like I have opportunity number 1 and opportunity number 2, but there's a significance on the 2.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. He had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and there was a remission, and then there was hope for like a stem cell thing.
Right.
And then it didn't work out.
I do feel like there's a reference to either missed hospital visit or a reference to this. And the only way I can describe it is like the symbol that comes through is like if someone leaves to go to the bathroom and then like, you know, and they think, oh, like I'm just gonna go to the bathroom, it'll be fine, I'll be back soon. Do you know if all the family was around him when he passed? Who was missing?
My brother and I were around him.
Because there was one person missing.
Mom she had gone home to shower. But
the feeling there is like, it's not that he's upset about the fact that she wasn't able to actually necessarily maybe be there in that moment, because he's already fine with how that was. Like, I don't feel a need for her to have to be there. When it comes to, he's very strong in the aspect of like, I don't need everybody to make a big deal about me. It's just like, I'm okay with just going.
It's just like, so them. They were good. Nothing was unsaid. They were good. My dad passed away 11 years ago. It's the most horrible thing to go through, you know, and he was too young and I was too young, and he's missed so much.
Yeah,
you know?
Sure, right.
I think in the early days he was worried maybe that like people were making fun of me on TV. And I just always told him like, yeah, but like, okay, I'll win in the end.
Yeah.
And I wish he could have seen me win in the end, you know?
Absolutely, and that's one of the big things that he seemed to really put a lot of emphasis on, is that even though he passed when he did, he feels like he has a full awareness of your career.
He does.
And all of that, and all of the advancement that you've been able to make. He feels like you took something that, you know, is you and is inherently you and turned it into a beautiful thing. Yeah. There is a reference specifically in talking about your sexual orientation. He just felt like he knew. And I think he knew for a while.
I would hope he knew, because it meant he could hear and see.
Yes, and he knew. He was absolutely okay with this, that this was a good thing for him. That it's not something that's negative and not something that he's even putting much emphasis on, as much as he's acknowledging, I'm okay with this, I'm supportive of this, and does actually come through for you as well.
How cute
in
is
that aspect. So it's kind of a cute little connection.
I always said we've had this like weird connection.
Right.
So when you say that, that makes sense to me, but it's comforting to me. I felt very emotional about how connected I was to Ross's dad. I just wanted him to like me, even though he didn't know me.
He's just making it a point to acknowledge your relationship. There is that connection, there is that sense of like, now on the other side, he sees it more in understanding and having a full understanding.
It's like when you are dating somebody and they need to like meet the parents, you know what I mean? For that almost like stamp of approval.
Yeah.
Well, my dad never got to do that. So I feel like now he did, you know? Like dad stamped you approved.
He likes me.
He really likes you.
I have to bring up the Chihuahua.
You what?
I'm looking at a little dog. There's a Chihuahua. There was an incident with a Chihuahua.
You need to shut up a little bit. That's crazy how you knew that.
This is gonna sound a little out there, that there's a reference to the fact that people have tried to come through and that they've actually tried to come through, and I'm looking at a little dog, clear as day, and I can see it, but odd enough, I don't know if the dog like barked randomly or did something kind of weird, but there's like a weird experience with a dog where it's like the dog feels like it's connecting or experiencing a spirit. I know it sounds absolutely ridiculous.
Our dogs are very talented, so I wouldn't put that past them.
Multi-talented, but there definitely would be.
So the dogs can see, like if my dad's trying to come by, the dogs would be like, really?
Absolutely.
I didn't know Tyler would tap into my Chihuahua. That was a shocker and impressive. He can talk to Chihuahuas?
And then also good to keep in mind, you both are gonna have an opportunity to partake in 2 causes. And these are charity kind of opportunities, which is gonna be great. So one is gonna be actually emphasized on animals, which is good to keep in mind.
Yes,
the second, though, more interestingly, is focused on kids. I'm seeing something similar, reminiscent to like the Big Brother program. If you're familiar with that?
Oh, okay.
I liked him talking about us doing some charitable work, because I was just thinking about that in the car today. I'm like, I'm so over myself. Like, I want to do something that doesn't benefit me in any way. I just want to sort of give back. My biological clock is ticking.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I want me some gabies.
You want some gabies?
Yeah. Do you see that for us? I mean, not biologically, of course, but
well, you sure can try. Yeah. But I mean, I am actually, interestingly, I see an opportunity to basically be like a father figure for a child without necessarily adopting the child. Is the only way I can
like a foster?
Yeah, but keep in mind, you may have an opportunity to basically just kind of have that aspect of kind of getting used to it on some level, really interacting, and then I see that step.
You know, it is sort of a full circle moment when you think about how important it was for me to hear from my dad, at the same time asking questions about wanting to be a dad. You know, the relationship between a father and child is like so special, and I'd love to have something like that. You know, I just hope to be around longer than my dad was for my kids.
Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. It's been so fun.
Thank you.
I loved it. Thank you.
It was very weird to be able to like reconnect with my dad a little bit. I really am like so grateful. You know, it's a gift that you don't get every day. He's good. But I'm like ready for like, I need like a cocktail. I need to just unwind a little bit. Because it gets you like on the edge of your seat. You know, I wanted more and then I kind of wanted to stop, but then I certainly wanted more.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate
it
so much.
Of course.
I'm a believer now, and I was before, but now he's just like confirmed that for me and validated it. And it's just amazing what he can do at a really, really young age and how he's honed this skill too. He's like the Doogie Howser of mediums.
Get home safe.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's crazy. It's really emotional, you know, hearing that my dad is proud and he sees me and he sees Salvador, because that's exactly what I was searching for. Exactly what I was searching for.
So I'm in the middle of Hollywood in a candy shop of all places, and when I turned the corner, I was absolutely shocked to see who I was reading. Oh. Oh my God.
Hi, Bobby.
Oh. Hello. I am in shock. I cannot believe I'm meeting RuPaul. He's an inspiration and someone that I've wanted to meet and read for years. So the fact that I'm finally having the chance is surreal, to say the least. Thank you for having me.
Good to see you.
Oh
Look
my
at
God,
you.
I'm going to cry. It's amazing to see you. Thank you for
can cry
having me.
Oh. My name is RuPaul, and I think Tyler might recognize me from RuPaul's Drag Race. Right now, we are at the RuPaul pop-up shop in Hollywood, California, where I have a gorgeous display of items that have represented my 35-year career. It's sort of a mini RuPaul world. So I thought it was important for Tyler to enter my world. Welcome to the RuPaul pop-up shop.
My gosh, I love this. I didn't even know there was a pop-up shop.
Yes.
I'm gonna come here all the time now.
I've never had a reading with someone so young, but I've seen Tyler on television, and I can feel the love. And there's so much information coming at us, so much mishigas, that having a medium help clarify and weed out what you don't need to focus on is so important.
Did you bring an object today for me?
I did.
Awesome. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, fabulous.
Well, there is someone I'm interested in connecting with, and I did bring an object I've had for many, many years. So I'm excited about that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, great. So I'm gonna bring through a very, very strong kind of maternal connection that I wanna make, but on that entire side of family. So I'm not probably gonna hit this name on the head here. There's an E female name, and that's unfortunately as far as I can take it.
My mother's name was Ernestine, and her mother's name was also Ernestine.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I immediately want to reference, I have to talk about one woman passing away of a progressive cancer. The woman who passed away of cancer is acknowledging that she'd be more like the motherly connection.
Yeah.
So she's coming through and she's having me acknowledge basically what I would look as like a diagnosis. Now she's bringing out a pink ribbon, which to me generally indicates breast cancer.
Yes. Well, my mother died from cancer, breast cancer, 1993.
And she comes through so sweet and so interesting in the way that she connects, because she's gentle, but she's loving enough to tell the truth when it's meant to come out. And that's the kind of woman that this woman is.
That was my mother in a nutshell. No BS. Wow. You know, she didn't sugarcoat anything.
Oh my gosh. She wanted to be strong for her kids. She's referencing to 6 people who she would be watching over in a sibling way. There is a reference to, like, in a house full of girls, there's a reference to a boy.
Yeah.
So, how many sisters would you have?
I have 3 sisters, and my one sister had 2 kids who lived at the house. That's 6. That's 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The feeling that comes through is that there is an acknowledgement, basically, from Mom of every time we go on stage, every time we perform, every time we are all glammed up. The feeling that comes through is that there would have been this thing that would have been done kind of repeatedly, but it's like a little nod to Mom.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, yeah. I do it, this is what I do, is that when I performed for her when I was a kid, I could do anything in the living room. I could do anything. It was always great. No matter how terrible I was, it was always great. Right. So what I do is whenever I go on stage, I remember that I think, this is Mama's living room. I'm gonna go on stage. Whatever you do is fine. And so that calms my nerves.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, something's coming through really quick, sorry. I'm seeing Diana Ross randomly. This is so weird. So there's a Diana Ross connection to your mom.
Well, the connection is that I was obsessed with Diana Ross and the Supremes, and I was so obsessed that I would perform the song with a broom for my mother in the living room. And years later, you know, she and I became friends.
Right. I love these earrings, so I assume these were your mom's?
These were hers, yep. I was probably wearing those earrings when I did the impersonation.
She comes through and she acknowledges that you miss that. Because it's like, I miss being able to just go to Mom and just be her son, you know? She's acknowledging that, obviously, since her passing, she's seen your achievements. When she passed, she knew you were a star. And I want you to know that. But she's saying, you're my special, like, you're my baby boy.
I know that.
And the feeling is like, that's always going to be the case.
She'd gone to see a psychic before I was born.
Right.
And the psychic said, it's a boy, and he's gonna be famous.
Wow.
So everything you're saying is right on. Right before her passing, we got to see a news report on MTV talking about my new album and what was about to happen to me. She looked at me and said, "You are crazy." Which was her way of saying, you made it. You did it. We're finally at that place that had been predicted all those years ago. And I knew that it was her blessing that, go on, live your destiny.
Sorry. Okay. Your mom comes across being very selective in the way that she kind of is giving information, which means that she's very selective with who she would tell certain things to in this way.
A lot of her childhood is a mystery, and she kept secrets.
Right.
And held grudges.
Yes. This is the weirdest possible thing, the way this connect. She's showing me, I'm seeing a bunch of open land, and she's showing me a horse. I'm not in LA, I'm completely in the middle of nowhere in the way this feels. It's very different. I'm on a horse randomly.
Yeah, there was a horse, and there was an accident where she lost her eye.
Oh, no.
On this horse.
Right.
and it was in Louisiana.
Weird.
Well, it was a secret because I didn't know that all the years I lived with her, I didn't know she had a glass eye.
Right.
It wasn't until she died.
Right.
And I feel like it's a way for it to finally come clean on that. You know?
Interesting. But it's an interesting thing, and she's putting this in the sense of like a catalyst potentially.
Well, it's a catalyst because it's the beginning of holding grudges and a world weariness.
Sure. There's a man that I have to bring up. Yeah, shoot. Oh, I'm placing some frustration around him.
Wow.
There may on Mom's side have been an individual who crossed boundaries who
Yeah.
And that contributed both to susceptibilities to depression, repression, being secretive, lots of personality traits.
That sounds right. That sounds right.
The feeling is that for her, she just feels like it was her baggage to hold on to, not everybody else's.
You know,
So-
I sense that. I didn't know that.
Right.
But this clarity you're giving me is exactly what I needed. This is what I assumed had happened.
Makes sense. Give me a sec. She's bringing up at the time of passing, she didn't want people to have to feel like they had to get there. She had a phone placed to her ear that she's having me bring up. And she's saying that I heard everything I needed to hear. So she's appreciative.
She had lost her hearing
Right.
at the very end, and she had my niece call me on the phone to say, Ru, I love you, and that you'll always be my baby. And she couldn't hear anything. I was with her right before her passing. I was working in Los Angeles, came down to San Diego to see her, and I remember that night, and this is one of the most, I think in my life, this is probably the most beautiful thing that has ever happened to me, is that night, she needed my help because she needed to go to the bathroom. And I got to clean her up and take her to the bathroom and really take care of her the way she had taken care of me as a child. And the idea that life had turned around to where these two people on this planet could help each other. She did it for me, and I did it for her. And the fact that I got to experience that, I've done a lot of things in my life. That was the most beautiful thing I've ever experienced in my life. It was beautiful. And that was the last time I saw her. Like my mother, I struggle with resentments and letting them go. It's become a pattern that I constantly work on.
When she comes through, the feeling is that basically she was strong, but you can be strong in a different way. Your strength can be in communicating. Your strength can be in being true to your feelings and being open and honest about your feelings as a learning tool to help others. And there's an emphasis basically from her end of you being proud about being forthcoming with your feelings. She acknowledges writing a book, and she's having me acknowledge this book that I absolutely 100% know you're going to write without a shadow of a doubt.
I'm preparing it right now, actually.
I love it, so congrats. The acknowledgement is that there's a pride for you that you have not allowed certain issues to just shut you off completely. And in that way, she kind of is learning from you.
Yeah.
It's a really beautiful thing. So you learn from her, you learn what to do, you learn what can be done better. Exactly. And it's also a gift now you are giving her in a unique way. So please know that as you progress, that's a healing process on her end because she gets to see that.
Right.
And that's really important.
You know, it's funny because one of my earlier memories was her telling me, my mother would say, Ru, you're too goddamn sensitive. But looking back at that, it was her way of warning me to not fall into the same trap of emotions that she did.
Right.
Because she was also that person. Knowing that I somehow, but by living my life as freely as I can, has helped her in her continuation of life is really so helpful. She's not burdened by all of her earthbound obligations.
Give me one sec. Sorry, I have something trying to connect. Father figure. Good to keep in mind on your dad's side is a reference to a gambling susceptibility on that side, a gambling addiction that ruined a financial situation. I feel like I spend all my time gambling or going out and not enough time being at home, and I feel like I neglect everybody. And there's a reference to an apology about that because the acknowledgement was, again, of the gambling that this man could not get over.
Right. That was my father. he never won anything, but he was addicted to gambling. And my father would have weekends with me. I'd sit on that front porch waiting for him to come. He would never show up.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen just once. It happened time and time again. He would say he was going to come and pick me up, and I would wait on that porch all day long. I remember saying, next car's going to be Daddy. Next car's going to be Daddy. Never show up. That was my Achilles heel. And then when he did come and pick me up, it would take me down to the racetrack, where basically sit me down so he could go and gamble.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The feeling that I just described was basically that there was an apology behind this and accountability. And I think that that's important when people come through to acknowledge, hey, I understand this because I didn't understand this in life.
Yeah. I understand some people are so shut down they can't feel themselves, and I could always understand that on an intellectual level, but on an emotional level, that's been the biggest hurdle for me. That's why it always came up in therapy, that moment of being the little boy who was left behind on the porch.
Right.
And throughout my life, I would always gravitate toward men who were distant in that same way that my father was, and couldn't go past the superficial. My father was a compulsive gambler, so much so that it wreaked havoc on all of our lives. So to hear my father apologize for that and to acknowledge it, so much healing and so much clarity that I will remember it for the rest of my life. You know, I secretly hope that my father would show up in a way that he never could in life. And at the last minute, he did.
It's interesting, I always talk about how loved ones come through and do things for living people, but this is an interesting reading where what you did after they died, inspired them and helped them in a way that is really profound. And I've never seen that strong of a dynamic come through.
That is interesting, I love that. I didn't know I would feel so light. I didn't know that I'd be given this boost for the rest of my life. You're sweet and lovely, and I could feel you through the television, you know?
It's so special.
You know how a rocket needs a fuselage to be blasted into space? For years, I've carried that fuselage with me. And it's the burden of my family, it's the rage of my mother, it's the hurt of my father. After this reading, I'm able to release that fuselage and be as free as I'm meant to be.
All right, have a good one.
Mwah!
I'm gonna sashay away now.
Now sashay away!
Oh, I've been waiting to hear it all day. Bye.